Welcome to Geek Rant. Hey everyone, welcome to Geek Rant. It's Greg here again on the channel with Toby, and today we're going to have a bit of discussion about the upcoming Star Wars series, the Skeleton Crew. We've noticed there hasn't been a huge amount online about it.
Yeah.
And recently we saw an article on Screen Rant, which kind of made us think a little bit. Why are they
Hmm.
being a bit negative about it?
Yeah.
I know you were going to talk us through it, Toby.
Well, Screen Rant's quite an influential online magazine, and
Hmm.
they've headed this article. It says Skeleton Crew season 2 thrown into doubt. What's happening with the next Star Wars show? And I kind of thought, not knowing too much about Skeleton Crew,
Yeah,
I had actually previously just watched a couple of the trailers.
yeah.
I was trying to catch up with what was going on with Star Wars, and then this popped up, and I thought, so they've cancelled Skeleton Crew before it's even aired. That was my immediate instinct. That was my immediate
Yeah,
instinct. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"What?
yeah,
What? How is this? How is this title even existing?"
yeah.
And I was kind of like, "Is this just how it goes these days?" You dare to put a Star Wars show out there. I know that
Yeah.
there's a lot of baggage that comes along with Disney and some of the shows that they've done, but they've put this one up here, and it's like, and they're
Dissing it.
already dissing it. Right. So I read the article,
Yeah,
and I was just kind of staggered that this type of rumor started to spread about a show that hasn't even aired, and it's
yeah,
basically, it says in the article that this was always going to be a mini series,
yeah, yeah,
um, set around the time of Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series, and that it's basically a kind of family orientated film, and that and what this article is saying, and it's a speculation that someone has been kind of called up on the fact that they've said that it depends on viewing figures whether they'll think about a second season,
yeah,
which it which is completely putting words in people's mouths in my mind. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
why are they saying this about a show?
Well,
What it strikes me.
I think maybe this is some of the fallout from the acolytes. Obviously, they had sort of spent a lot of money. Someone was saying it was almost 300 million that they'd spent on
Yeah,
this on that
yeah,
series.
that's right.
And now they've cancelled, doing any further series. Is this, a preemptive strike by somebody to try and sort of suggest this is only going to be one series,
So
the funny,
those negative people, isn't it? They're coming in, they want to try and
yeah,
find something that, and they want to paint this series with the same brush.
yeah,
They want to get rid of this series before it even shows.
yeah.
That's the kind of the attitude of people like this. Either that, or this is just a purely clickbait type article. But it's quite a detailed article.
It's something that is happening more and more, isn't it, these days? We've once or twice put some strong headers on
Yeah, but I would
you know,
say
videos.
this is a different sort of situation to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
These are like news articles in a
yes,
sense, not sort of
yes,
discussion videos or people's
no,
opinions. They're presenting this as if it's fact,
yes.
and
I'm with
I
you.
for me, that is a step in the wrong direction.
Definitely, definitely.
I mean, what did you think of the trailer when you saw Skeleton Crew?
I actually thought it's got potential, and it looked. What was interesting was it looked quite different to other Star Wars properties.
Yeah,
I mean, when you read this article, they were obviously talking about the sort of Spielberg original Amblin production company, and they're trying to recapture a little bit of the E.T. Goonies
definitely Goonies. Yeah.
kind of feel to it, which I love those films. They're great old films, and I've got no problem with them trying to recapture a bit of that style and the way they were made. They were very
Yeah.
entertaining and they drew you in. They were and also a lot of those films were very character driven, and
And yeah, films
emotional. They had a
is the
lot of
thing.
good, yeah, they were.
They were films, and this struck me when I looked at it. When I first saw the trailer, not knowing much about it, I thought it
Hmm,
was a film. I actually
right,
thought that this was a trailer for a film.
yeah.
I
The
think that
visuals,
there's a certain pressure to make a series, isn't there? I
yes.
think that maybe that's where the money is
Well, they've
potentially
spent
from
all
what
this
this is.
money setting up Disney Plus, and
Yeah,
there are so many streaming services now that they are under a huge amount of pressure to keep producing more and more new product. And
yeah,
it's our fault really because we're demanding and demanding all the time for something new, you know. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these Star Wars programs. They're a bit hastily put together, or
yeah.
they've
Some of them
thought,
are like the Obi-Wan Kenobi one. I thought
yes,
was badly
yeah,
put together, but this looks different to me. This
yes,
looks like they're drawing upon more of a cinematic tradition, and they're
yes,
kind of saying, right, we're going to present something that's family, and they've decided that they're releasing it for Christmas in a sense,
yeah.
the holiday season, and it strikes me that they're trying to do something different, you know,
and
and
and and that is fine. I think they do need to constantly think about the new audience that they want to bring
yeah,
into to these things.
try different things.
Star Wars, I mean, we watched it when we were kids, didn't we?
Yeah,
So we, we very much, I can totally understand, you know, the next generation coming in and being, you know, part of that. I think generally I want things to be more positive about sort of Star Wars. I think
yeah,
the storylines I want them to be a bit more. The problem I have with some of the previous films. I mean, the last three that they did, the last trilogy, the Palpatine
mm,
stuff and all that
hmm,
was very negative about the original characters, in my opinion. You know, Luke
yeah,
Skywalker was portrayed to be a bitter old man that was living on a rock. You know,
yeah.
had abandoned the whole Jedi
Han was
thing,
killed.
and yeah, him and Princess Leia had divorced and broken up,
Yeah,
and it was it. You know,
dragged in the modern day.
the son was now
Yeah,
an evil
killed his dad.
character, killed his dad. You know, there was a lot of
There's
things that
no
sort of,
retribution. No, yeah, no
yeah,
salvation.
that didn't kind of, they should have, in my opinion, brought a much more positive feel to those older characters, even if they did end up dying in some heroic way or whatever.
Yeah, and
And
this TV show looks like it might bring that.
that's right. Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah,
say. It looks a bit more
yeah,
positive. It looked interesting that they're going to take some kids on a journey, you know, some of the storyline might be a bit weak. You know, they get on a spaceship and suddenly they're flying over to the other side of the universe, sort of thing. That's how it's
yeah. I
portrayed.
mean, but I see a lot of that as fairy tale.
Yes.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you must we mustn't forget.
If they do it well, it
Yeah,
can work. But if they do
that
it badly,
yeah, I
it
do
will
think
be.
that Star Wars is a fairy tale to a certain extent,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
like what these trailers are implying in that respect. That this is more of a fairy tale, and
Yeah.
like this is the kids going on a quest. But interestingly for me, this is aimed at not just the young audience, new
Hmm.
generations, you're saying, but it's aimed at the older audience looking back with a kind of eye on nostalgia,
Yeah.
you know, and imagining that you and I were part of that four going out on that
Yeah.
mission into space.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's easy enough to sort of say
Oh,
in
that's
one
definitely
breath.
a good way of capturing the
I,
kids, you know,
I think so.
into these things. I mean, do you
Yeah.
remember
If
that
dad sits
film?
next to you while you're watching it, then
Yeah,
yeah, it's great.
yeah. You remember that film about the kids that I think it's called Explorers, and it
Yeah.
had River Phoenix in it, and they
Yeah.
get sucked into a space thing where they create this little ship with a like
Yeah.
a bubble shield. You know, there's things like that.
Yeah.
They done well, and in that kind of innocent sort of
Mm.
family orientated way can really bring new kids in, and that is good, you know. I think it does need, it almost like feels like Star Wars needs a little bit of a reset in some respects, you know.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And maybe
Yeah.
this might could this be the reset? Could this
Mm,
be the trigger
mm,
for us to give
yeah.
some of the magic back? to
Yeah.
the show because it was
Exactly.
magical, wasn't it? It was
Yes.
magical
Yes.
because a lot of the effects were like stuff nobody had ever seen before in
Yeah.
1977.
That's
You know,
right.
that was a very special time, and I think that Favreau, who's sort of behind this,
Yeah.
he draws on that. He wants that type of approach, doesn't
Yes.
he? And
Yeah.
I think I can sense it in there, and
And I think also it feels like, I mean, they've got John Watts and Chris Ford who had done Spider-Man Homecoming,
that's right.
and I I felt that that was trying to get back to the essence of the superhero and the character and his
Yeah,
struggles and so on. So I
bit more
think
human in a sense, wasn't it?
a bit more, yeah. We're always talking about
Yeah,
this, aren't we? We want more
yeah,
character-driven stories.
yeah,
This could be it, you know, there could be four kids that are going off on an adventure. Now,
yeah.
the problem you have with filming kids, I suppose, is if you filmed it a couple of years ago, when they start coming up with the next idea for season two, to get them
I
into the
don't think
next
there should
season,
be.
it could be a big age gap, you know,
Yeah,
in the way they produce things
there is
these
that
days.
side of it. I mean,
Yeah.
to a certain extent, I personally don't think that there should be a season. I don't think they should be
No,
afraid to
no,
do special little
no, one-offs.
mini series
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
fantastic, or even films for TV. How about
Yeah.
that for a scary thought? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
do
true.
a Star Wars film for TV rather than for a big release. You
Yeah.
know, and it could just be, they could even set up a tradition where they're doing a film for Christmas each year, you
Yeah.
know, and they would have like a whole a good IP there that they can then maybe expand out and take some of those characters in other directions. I
Yeah.
mean, there are characters from The Mandalorian appearing in it, like Vane is the leader of the pirates in the show,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and
He was
there's
unfortunately
connections.
one of the characters I really didn't like in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that whole bit where they were arguing over he wants to drink in the school was total rubbish. It's just like what the
It
hell?
doesn't stand out to me, that particular character. But
No.
I think in the context that he's meant to be seen, something like a pirate's story. This is a
Yeah.
pirate story. This is,
Yeah.
you know, it's got One-Eyed Willie found in a
I
spaceship.
know, I know. When I
You
saw
know,
the skeleton and its head just sort of did that little,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, ah, right, okay,
Goonies.
Goonies. But
And look at
that's my only
lots.
hesitation is
Yeah,
don't make it too nostalgia based, you know?
yeah.
Don't make it
I know what
about
you're
just
saying.
dropping the hat to these things. It was like that when we reviewed like Alien Romulus. There was to me, there was too much stuff in it that was harking back to other. You can still have that same universe, but it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be revolving around all the things that happen, you know, as a little tip of the hat
it's very
to.
true. It's very true.
So I just hope
Uh,
that doesn't go too over the top like that. But again, younger people may not know those references, you know, and
yeah.
maybe that stuff will be put in for the adults so that they can be drawn into this as a family scenario. So
And we certainly didn't know some of these references when we were kids watching films,
yeah,
because films made back when we were doing the same thing.
I'm
Maybe
sure.
it's not as big an industry as it is now, the
Yeah,
nostalgia,
yeah,
as it's so tied into merchandise these days. But I just feel like there's nothing wrong with telling a style of story, even if it does tip its hat to other references.
yeah. I
And
agree. It's just got to be
there's,
subtle.
yeah,
It's just not got to be like it's every 10 minutes there's a reference back here and there. That's
yeah.
fine. You know, we know we're
I
in a
mean,
Star Wars world, don't we? We don't need
yeah.
to be reminded of every bit of Star Wars.
And I feel like if it's in a film, personally for me, I think it works better. It'd be interesting to see how they work it in a series where
Yeah.
they really tip to the nostalgia, because they haven't really done that too much yet. So
No.
this is good. This actually is drawing in that cinematic element into the TV series, you
Yeah.
know. And I've been very impressed with some of the shots, some of the lighting. This looks to be quite a dark film. There's lots of dark settings.
There was some light and dark, you know.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
quite like the dark side of having that kind of
yes.
like, it's like the
Yeah.
forest in ET, you know. It's
Yes.
like these
Yeah.
dark spaceports that they end up, you know, and
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
Jude Law appears as this potential Jedi,
Yes.
or trickster, as they like to be throwing around, where you often see him lit with this yellow light in the dark, you know, and I think that there's mystery. They don't want to be afraid to throw in scary things That's
No,
part. I think that would be an
no.
important thing. Like the ship gets completely destroyed. That looks terrifying.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's definitely going to be ups and downs. We get the suburb at the beginning. I know that lots of people are going to hate that, the suburb, and there's going to be a lot of people picking at details in this film. But the question is, can they sit back? Can they stand
yeah.
back and say, okay, those little details
To
aside,
be
is it
honest with you,
enjoyable? Is it enjoyable?
that the bit where we saw like the suburbs, yes, I can see the influence from these other films and things, but I would say Star Wars has become very too. Oh, we're in a city, a planet that's full of massive buildings and
Yeah,
hyper technology.
the rich.
Yeah, or just these
Yeah,
crazy, or it's a desert planet or a frozen planet,
yeah.
and I do want some other environments and some other, and
Mm,
this would just it sort of make you think the universe for Star Wars is huge. There are lots
yeah,
of different planets. This is just another type of planet where these people live a bit more spread out. They've got a bit more, they're obviously enjoying their their lives.
yeah. Well, there would be this,
Good
wouldn't there?
doing
There would have to
jobs.
be the middle class. There would have to
Yeah,
be the middle class
yeah.
in the Star Wars galaxy. And what the hell happens in middle class? You get kids, they've got tons of spare time,
Yeah.
and
They
they're
want a
dreaming.
garden to play in.
They
They
want
want
to
to go
dream. They
and,
want to go off and
yeah,
find something, a
yeah,
lost Jedi temple.
yeah.
Or it
Oh
could be a
yes.
spaceship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to it being in the
Yes.
winter. It's going to be
Yeah, yeah.
cold. We're going to be sitting down. I'm going to make the family sit down and watch this with me, and
That's right. It
with
comes out 3rd of December, doesn't it? So,
yeah, yeah,
like I say, and I think they said in the article that they'll release an episode on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, so it will be
yeah,
right around that period to enjoy it. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's fantastic.
I thought it looked quite good. I just hope, like you say, I hope it doesn't get sort of attacked too quickly, and and
Oh,
that it's
it's
reasonably
going to.
entertaining.
It will get attacked, but because it's Star Wars, because it's Disney,
Mm.
and I just feel like if it's not really kind of highbrow kind of stuff like Andor, that people can't give it a chance.
No,
People just have
no.
to remember that it's that there's a tradition of family films coming out of Star Wars, and Rebels and the cartoon series that they did, the
Yeah.
animated series, they were great as well. I mean, I've got high hopes for this film. I just like the way it tickles me. It's got like a there's something about it that I'm kind of excited about. I got sucked in. I'm part of that demographic they're aiming at, where
Yes.
it's the nostalgia, and I love loads of nostalgia. I love it more than you do. I love
I
it
like
spread thickly.
nostalgia, but not too obvious in your face. We're using
If
this
it's done well,
to
I think
try
it's
and get
fantastic.
a film.
When that skeleton's head tips forward in the film, I'm going to cheer.
If it's just got one eye socket, then I'm turning it off.
Yeah, I can imagine. No, no, you won't. You got to watch it. It will be. I'm also a little bit cautious sometimes with Jude Law, because there was a time when he was in just about everything,
Yeah.
but we haven't seen as much of him lately, and I feel like he looks all right in this. He looks like he's been cast okay.
It's interesting, isn't he? Because sometimes he does some good stuff, and then sometimes he does some really bad stuff, and it's
Yeah,
it's a bit hit and miss, isn't it? But
yeah,
I like him generally. I think he's all right as an
yeah,
actor, and I think he will do well with these kids. For some reason, I think he's going to play off the children quite well,
yeah,
and it's nice to see a Jedi character that you're just a bit unsure of, and what's going to
yeah.
happen there.
Something a bit
Perhaps it's
mystical as
perhaps it's
well.
going to be someone who's not a Jedi but has worked out how to use the Force. So
Yeah, a survivor of Order 66
yeah,
who's
yeah.
gone underground.
Or not even that. Someone who just
You know.
who's just worked out how to use the Force. That would be
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
interesting, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah.
someone had to learn it somehow to begin
They
with
did,
to train other
and
people.
it exists in people, doesn't it? It exists in
Yes,
people.
exactly.
And you and I, we don't we reckon that there should be other ways the Force should be viewed in the world, in this
Yeah,
galaxy, in this
yeah, yeah,
in this world.
yeah.
And I think that could present something a little bit intriguing.
Yeah.
That again, some of the naysayers may have a trouble with, but I like it's kind of magical, and that works if they can do the bit where the key floated through to the cell, and
Yeah.
he's obviously in the cell. It struck me as a bit Harry Pottery as well.
Slightly.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of
But it
like
was
the
nice because it
magical
was like
floating.
in front of the kids, and they're having their little
Yeah,
awe at it happening.
he's a
That's like you say,
Jedi.
yeah, getting the magic back for
Yeah,
what Star Wars was, and
yeah.
yeah, I can see what you're saying. I'm hoping it's good. I want Star Wars to be good. I
You better
want
watch it with you. Do you think your girls will want to watch it with you?
maybe. I think
Yeah.
my oldest might. She loves Grogu, so she's got
Yeah,
several toys.
I think they'll
Yeah.
love it. I think it's definitely a family one, and maybe that's part of the problem. There has
Mm.
been we were talking about audiences for certain
Yeah.
shows,
Yeah.
like Agatha. I think this
Yeah.
one is clearly nailing down the family
Yes.
audience,
It's
and I think
defining
that
its audience, isn't it?
it
Pretty much
is
straight
clearly
away,
done it. It
you
just
know.
says family film.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
watch DT, you're gonna like this.
Yes,
There's very
exactly.
much of that sort of
Exactly.
vibe to it, and
Yeah.
I quite we like prescriptions. We like it. That we often enjoy something that has clearly laid out what it is,
Yeah.
because then we're just comfortable. We can just sit back and
It
we
is
don't have to
good.
worry too much.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's going to be good about this show.
The other one that I'm obviously keen to see, and I've not seen anything about it yet, and it worries me because I just hope they haven't sort of tainted what they produced in the first season. Is Andor,
Yeah,
I'm
Andor season 2 they've been talking, haven't
yeah,
they?
yeah.
I think
So
it's nearly. Have they nearly finished filming it? I think they.
yeah, I think it's due
Yeah,
in 25.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm hoping that they can keep to the values that they'd sort of set up in the first
yeah.
series. Some proper sets, a lot of more sort of
Some good
character
scripting.
acting, some good
That's had
scripting.
some good
Yeah,
scripting.
it was, so in actual fact, if this is good, if the Skeleton Crew is good, if Andor's good, it could be a little bit of a turning point for Star Wars, maybe,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
I think what they need to do is just think carefully. I would like them not to do a Ray movie. I would like them to do something different. Take it in a different way.
yeah,
I know they're doing a Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I'm
yeah.
not sure if that's a good idea or not.
No, I personally don't.
Um,
I don't see that as a positive thing.
no,
But I'm open. I'm open to it
yeah.
working.
I like
I
the
love the
first two
Mandalorian.
seasons. I like the first two seasons
Yeah,
of Mandalorian. It lost
yeah,
its way a bit in the third season, but I think that's the difficulty.
yeah,
You're trying to come up with really good new ideas for these characters, and it can just become a little bit. I think the
yeah,
Grogu thing worked better at the beginning. When he's
yeah,
discovered him and getting through those few initial problems, but.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe we're wrong, but
yeah, yeah. We'll see. But I do think that we shouldn't say this is a cancelled show already. I think
no,
that people should be
no,
open. I don't like seeing these negative. If the show comes out and it's crap, then
yeah,
it
yeah,
gets
yeah,
it gets what it deserves.
yeah, yeah,
But at this point, we don't want to start seeing these titles season two
yeah,
thrown into doubt. I mean, there's no season two. It's a
no,
one-off miniseries. It's going to be magical. It
yeah,
comes at Christmas time.
yeah,
As far as I'm concerned, this is a positive thing that Disney have done, and
yeah.
that maybe they're reflecting on the fact they're not trying to be something else. They should try and be Disney and give some magic through that process.
Anyway, thanks for watching today. We're going to be seeing how that one turns out in December. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We just want to say thanks to everybody for watching the videos and subscribing. Obviously, if you're liking the videos, press the like button and don't forget to subscribe. We want to produce more of these videos. We're enjoying what we're doing, and we hope people are enjoying listening to us. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon.